Dave here again. Hi Dave. Hi people. Another evening. It's warm, isn't it? Someone said, I thought of you today. I said, was there an annoying cunt in front of you on the way to work or something? He said, no, I heard a Chubby Brown gag and I thought of you. Pizza delivery driver crashes outside my house on his motorbike, laying on the floor in agony. I rushed out. He's laying on the floor. He goes, oh, thank God you came. I'm in excruciating pain. Are you a doctor? I said, no. I took his bag off and said, that's my fucking pizza, mate. You know what I mean? I don't want it getting cold. Well, there's principles in this world, you know. Yeah. My mate said, your comedy's quite good. You just need to get out there and show yourself to the world. I got done for indecent exposure. The first fucking open mic night. I did argue with the judge that, you know, if that's above 8 inches, it should qualify as decent exposure. He said, fair play, it's a decent size, but every cunt don't need to see your cock and balls, you thick twat. Put them right off their breakfast. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was thinking the other day, that happens some rare occasion, it happens sometimes. Why do Americans call petrol gas? That's what's in your fucking central heating. That's definitely a liquid. I spilled it all over the fucking carpet the other day. Definitely a liquid. If it was gas, it'd have floated out the fucking window, wouldn't it? Yet they call diesel fuel, and they do use gas in their central heating, but they call it natural gas. Americans call petrol gas because it's called gasoline. So why do we call it fucking petroleum? Talk about confusing. Yeah. So pick one. Gasoline or fucking petroleum. I know a banana is a banana everywhere. We should have one fucking name. That'd be less complicated. You know what I mean? When my parents were at school, they had a system called the 3 R's. Reading, writing and arithmetic. So you can understand why nobody's good at fucking English grammar, can't you? Fucking hell. I was in town the other day, walking along as you do. As you do. I saw a tramp and he's eating these grapes. I said, can't you wait? Wait for them to ferment, you know, into wine, you know. My mate went on holiday. He took his posh full-face snorkel. He said, I want to see the fish. I said, if you imagine if you tried that here on the East Coast, you know, Yarmouth, Lowestoft, Felixstowe, East Mersey, you know, Colchester, you wouldn't see your fucking hand in front of your face, would you? The sea's like a fucking chocolate milkshake. Like the river from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And you walk along the seafront at Felixstowe and there's a turd coming out of the pipe right next to you. You're literally swimming in fucking raw sewage. Bloke went, don't go in there, your legs will dissolve. Swimming in liquid shit. You go, dive down to the bottom and there's fucking turds everywhere. You swim abroad and you've got a clear sea and you see fish swimming all around you. Swim here, you accidentally kick a tuna fish and they're still in a tin. You know what I mean? My mate went to Spain to watch the football. He said he stayed for a long weekend. He said he went to watch Real Madrid. He said, but he couldn't find fake Madrid anywhere. I was like, you thick twat. But why is it called Real Madrid? There's not a fake one. Yeah. My friend Mark is gay. I spoke about him before. Lovely bloke, good sense of humour. He tells me some fucking good jokes. He's got a good sense of humour, and he tells jokes about gay people because he's gay. Because he's a good bloke. And he ain't offended. Like we used to be. Used to be normal people. I introduced him to another gay friend of mine down the pub. But I didn't tell him that he was gay. He said, I would have never known if he was gay. If I did, I'd have sorted him out. So I said, well, his name was a bit of a clue, wasn't it? He said, why, what's that? I said, Ben. He said, yeah. I said, bend over, pay attention. Bend over, you know. And next time they met, they come out for a while. They went into the co-op. They bought a case of Guinness and went to the Indian takeaway. He come back, he said, we're going home. We fancy a 69. I was like, oh, all right. I said, couldn't you get here drunk first, you know, and then go later? Why the Guinness and the takeaway? He said, we're having a 69 and then we're going to get shit-faced. I thought, oh, my fucking God. Told you, good jokes. He tried to join the army and the sergeant really picked on him. It was obviously very camp. I said, why is it called fucking camp? Camp is where you put a fucking tent up. The sergeant took him out to the exercise field. He made him run, jump, climb walls, mud, underwater, rope climbs, the fucking lot. Halfway through, sergeant come up. He said, come on, slow coach. Punched him in the face, kicked him in the leg, whacked him with a cane. He complained. The sergeant shouted, "Why do you think they call it a fucking assault course? Stop whining, boy." It's tough in the army. I've been there, you know. And just for the record, the only time a gay person should be called camp is when they're having sex in a fucking tent. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with being gay. I bought the missus a vibration plate, you know, try and wake things up, you know, down south. When you've been in a relationship for a long time, you know, everything loses a bit of sensitivity. You know, try and bring it back to life, you know. But for most people, it's like giving a kiss of life to a fucking rasher of bacon, isn't it? You know what I mean? I thought I'd try, you know, yeah. I got some of that Brazilian bum cream. Bloody expensive, but it's supposed to tighten things up. So maybe I should rub half a tub on the old beaver, you know? Start on the outside, work your fucking way in. You know? And I watched her near the mirror. She was dabbing it on her nose, on her forehead, and on her cheeks. I said, "No, love, you got it all arse about face." I said, "I got it for your lovely arse. You want me to rub it on for you?" She went, "No, it's not just for your bum. It's supposed to work everywhere." I said, "Really? Well, let's put it on your flaps then, see if it fucking works, shall we?" You know? Fucking hell. Isn't love wonderful? Like a geezer go in the toilet, he come out and go, "I'll give that fucking 10 minutes if I was you." You'll never hear a lady say that, will you? And the toilet seat. The fucking toilet seat. Men like it up, women like it down. Some men like it down, And if you need it up, put it up. If you need it down, put it down. It's not that complicated. You know? It's a very simple piece of equipment. So, fucking hell. Do you know, married people, they always get sent to some group, don't they, to try and get on. They can't fucking get on. They're always at each other's fucking throats. My mate said there's the marriage guidance group next Tuesday. He said it's always on a Tuesday, so both people can say to each other, "See you next Tuesday," and not have a fucking argument about it. Instead of, "See you at the meeting, you annoying cunt." You know what I mean? Did you know, fucking stop the press, did you know people are now drinking alcohol-free alcohol? If it's alcohol-free, it's not alcohol, is it? That's more expensive, and it's just a pot of sugar. I mean, what the fuck? The reason that people drink alcohol is that the effects of the alcohol make you feel nice. Most of it tastes horrible. Most of it tastes like shite. So when we do want something nice, we drink something healthy. Do you know what I mean? A lady friend said, "Well, I go out and I'm driving, so I like to make it look like I'm having a drink with the others." I said, "You mean you want to pretend you're drinking?" She said, "Well, yeah." I said, "Why don't you just stay at home, have a proper drink, and pretend you're out instead? I'll save you a lot of shit and you'll have a better night." £7 for a pint of beer. You can get 4 cans for £5 in the ethnic minority shop. Stay at home, watch the football, get your friends around. Easy. I was looking on the stock markets the other day. McDonald's done really well, hasn't he? I remember when he just had a farm. He's got a whole chain of fucking fast food restaurants now. Fucking hell. My mate Danny's just come back from a tour. Sound like he'd been singing in stadiums all over the fucking world, doesn't it? He's a soldier, you know, not one of the ones you dip your fucking egg in. A proper one. And he said to me, he said, "Dave, I've just found out my missus is pregnant." I said, "Congratulations, Danny." That rhymes with the place where it's going to come from. You know what I mean? Danny? Fanny? He said, "Not really, Dave. He said, I've been away for 12 months. I said, "Bloody hell." I said, "Do you know what? That's a grudge pregnancy." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, your neighbour's always had it in for you, hasn't he?" Always had it in for you. My mate is very unlucky. He got with a lovely girl, but she had a wooden leg. They had a big argument, and he hid her wooden leg so she wouldn't leave him. And she still ran off with another bloke. Unlucky or what? Do you know what? She tried to claim half his stuff and half the house. Luckily, they hadn't been together for 6 months and they weren't married. When it got to court, she never had a fucking leg to stand on. He had it in the fucking cupboard, didn't he? At least he had a woody every fucking other night. Hey, Cock. I've got a joke for you. Never guess that, I'm a fucking comedian. An Englishman, a Welshman and an Indian man are at the hospital. All of their wives have given birth and there's been a mix-up. All the wives are white English. So the nurse has said to all of the fellas, come in and pick your baby. You'll know which baby's yours. They're being sewn up. You've got sore beaver, undercarriages a bit, So the nurses ask each father to go in turn and pick their baby. And the English man goes, I'm English. I'll go first. In all fairness. The English bloke come out 3 minutes later holding a baby. He said, this one's mine. It was quite clearly an Indian baby. And the Indian bloke said, hang on a minute. That's definitely an Indian baby. He said, look, mate, there's 2 white babies in there and one of them's Welsh. I ain't taking any fucking chances, you know what I mean? Fucking hell. It's hard being Welsh, isn't it? You'd rather have the Indian one. I called the police last week. I said, you need to come to my house now. There's a bloke breaking into my house. He's got a fucking crowbar on the back door. He said, is he in yet? I said, that's what I say to the woman. He said, we're very busy. No one's available. I said, he's breaking in the house. No officers available. I run back 15 minutes later. I said, you don't need to come now. He got on my back door and I stabbed the cunt to death. Within 2 minutes, there was helicopters in the sky, fucking armed police, red dots, blocked the fucking street off. 35 policemen. I was stood outside with my foot on him. And I said, and I let him get up. And the fucking chief inspector said, you're a fucking liar. You said you killed him. I said, and you told me nobody was available to come to my house. You know what I mean? Fucking hell. People trying to change things. This world is very invasive and controlling lately. At work the other day, said we want more staff and more rights so we can effectively care for our patients. Fair play. You can't even discuss it with upper management. My mate said, that's because there's a hierarchy. I said, a hierarchy? I said, is that the really tall fella from Baghdad at head office? You know what I mean? He's a hierarchy. Yeah, but hasn't it been hot? My partner was in the garden a few weeks ago. It was really hot. So I had my cacks off and she had her knickers off, dress. Gets sweaty down there, doesn't it? I haven't been wearing pants much lately. It's too hot. It just hangs out the bottom of my boxer shorts and the wind cools it nicely, Anyway, we're sitting in the garden and a bumblebee flew right up a minge. You could hear it buzzing roads away, I rushed down to the doctor's with her. I said, we've got to get this out in case it stings a beaver. It's dangerous, that is. And the doctor said to me, he said, just dip your willy in a jar of honey, stick it in there. When the bee lands on the end, you'll feel his feet. Pull it out. I said, I can't get a hard on in front of you when my missus has got a wasp up her minge. I tried, but I couldn't get it up. I didn't want to get stung, I said to the doctor, look, you'll have to do it. You're the professional. You've got the fucking qualifications. I'll wait outside for a minute. Well, 45 minutes passed. I come back in the door. He was only shagging the missus. She was laying there motionless and snoring as always. I said, what the fuck are you doing? He said, there's a change of plan, mate. I'm going to drown the little bastard. And he would have done it all. My mate said to me, he said, you got a mobile phone. Every cunt's got one. Like a Ford clitoris. Every cunt, every cunt's got one. He said, what mobile network are you on? I said, I'm on O2. He said, we're all on O2. We fucking breathe it in, Yeah. I went for a walk down the golf course last week. I was walking, there was an attractive lady walking a dog, We got chatting. A few minutes later, a golf ball come over, smacked her right on the fucking head. And she was laying on the floor out cold. I thought, oh my God, I think I fucking killed her. I ran to the clubhouse. I said, there's a woman been hit by a golf ball. Knocked down, unconscious. Is there a doctor in here? Well, fucking place is full of doctors, isn't there? You ever find me dead with 21 holes in my back? Check the fucking doctors at the golf course. And 10 doctors put their hands up. So I took one down, down to the lady. And he said, I'll help you. Where is she? I said, she's been hit in between the first and second hole. Well, he opened the legs up. He said, I can't fit a plaster between there. You know what I mean? Yeah. I looked down, right? He was only kissing the beaver. I said, look, I know she's unconscious, but you're supposed to kiss the other fucking end. You know what I mean? Pure filth. She was nice looking, though. Yeah. My mate come up to me the other day. He said, Dave, you like to move, don't you? He said, would you like to run a marathon for charity? I'm trying to get people to sign up for it. I said, it's 26 miles. I said, at my fucking age. He said, that's for charity. Go on, Dave. That's for people who have no legs. I said, put me down for it. I could fucking win that one. Yeah, I was speaking to the missus. She said to me, Dave, if the world was going to end in 4 minutes, the 4-minute warning, what would you do? I said I would shag anything that moved. I said, why? What would you do? She said, I'd stay very, very still. Like, you bastard. You ladies know, don't you? You fucking know. Yeah, I took the missus for a smear test. She always likes me to go, and the male doctor has to get a beaver out. Got her legs up in their stirrups and said, relax, will you, Mrs. Smith? You're very tense. And he got some of that KY jelly out. She said, I get nervous around men. I said, no, I fucking know it. He said, I'll put some KY jelly on my fingers and I'll tease them in gently. And the doctor's there with the Mrs. Beaver. And at that moment, the phone rang and he picked up. He went, oh, you're almost here, mate, are you? You're almost here. He said, when you get here, deliver to reception. Just keep going straight, you know. Yeah, carry on down there, you know. She's like, ooh. Then you'll come to a roundabout, you know. Go round a roundabout, you know. And then turn left, you know. Left. Oh. Then go straight. Go straight. Oh. Then you'll come to a roundabout. Go round it. Go. Oh. Then go straight again. Oh. And you're here. I said, sorry. He said, sorry about that, Mrs. Smith. A delivery driver had some important meds for us. He said, don't worry about that. Go back to the first fucking roundabout, doctor, will you? You know. Your fingers up your beaver. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, subscribe, follow. Don't follow me around the fucking co-op, but just follow. Comments. Anything you like, don't like. More of. Call me a fat twat. Whatever you want. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.